Good afternoon. This is the first video today of our 1982 Mercedes-Benz Turbo Diesel. I purchased this about 2 months ago from a man in Charlottesville, Virginia. This car had sat in the field for about 10 years. He picked it up from the previous owner. He just had it a couple months, and the car was pretty nasty, so he power washed it, and of course it took a lot of the paint off. Because it had been resprayed at one time. Now, the outer body of the car is actually in really good shape with minimal rust, a couple spots on the bottom of the doors, but nothing that I'm too scared of. Now, I haven't posted any videos of this car, but I have done quite a bit of work to it already. It did run, it did drive, it shifts through the gears, but I did some basic maintenance on it. I replaced the brake rotors, the pads, the calipers, brake lines, brake sensors, and of course tires there from Discount Tire. Now there are several websites out there that offer parts for this car, and like a lot of you who own diesels, I have found a great source of parts from out in Oregon. Mercedes source is great. Ken has got a lot of instructional videos, and I've learned a lot. I've never owned a diesel before. I'm going to say I'm a YouTube mechanic, but you know, it's a great source of knowledge. It's helped me being a new diesel owner. Now, the engine runs great. I've since put about 200 miles in this car. It does shift up a little hard and downshift a little hard, but I recently replaced the flex disc, both flex discs, the center carrier bearing, also a new air filter, oil change. Have not done the fuel filter yet. Still trying to run the diesel out of the tank of the car. The gas gauge does not, or diesel gauge does not work. Now you can kind of see the floorboards of the car. There is a little bit of surface rust here, but the primary amount of rust is in the back here in this area, but that's nothing that's too difficult to do. Sunroof miraculously works as should. Of course, the windows, as you can tell, are down. Those do not work because the center switches are bad. But I did direct wire them to the battery, so they do operate up and down. Right now they're down because being in Eastern Virginia, you know, you need the windows down. The climate control has intermittently worked. Again, it doesn't cool. The compressor doesn't, so of course it's the original AC unit, so it's going to need a little bit of help. The blower motor did work on the car. I did have it working, and then it was a Friday. The car did not. It didn't work anymore. But again, being as the age of the car, that may be a relay, that may be a module. Who knows? But again, for those of you that love the 123, this is mine right here. My wife is conveniently named this car Curly. I don't know why. Maybe because of the color. Maybe it looks like a bald head. I don't know. There are the switches there that I've got to order this evening. Again, I think that's the culprit for the windows not going up and down. They do operate, as I said, with the direct wire, but you know, trunk there. I've got all the interiors removed so that I can. There's a little bit of rust on the insides that I need to cut out and replace, but again, nothing too difficult. The antenna on the car actually does go up and down. Did replace all the bulbs and headlights. The fog lights work, and so on down the line. Cruise control does not work, which who cares? Not too big. I'm just looking for a car that I can have fun with, take me back to my childhood. When I did go to church with my grandmother on Sunday. She had an '85 with a white turbo diesel. This particular car had difficulty with the key turning over. I did order a new tumbler set, installed it. It worked for a while, but still was having difficulty. So I believe I'm going to have to remove the whole entire steering lock and have a new one in, and their website out there of my source of Mercedes parts, and he'll match a key tumbler to that one so that we know that it works. But other than that, antenna goes up and down for the most part. Dome lights all work. Rear defogger, I believe, works. Again, the climate control is being naughty right now. Radio doesn't work, but that's okay. Other than that, it shifts through all the gears as should be. The seats, miraculously, are in pretty decent shape. The door panels, I've decided that I'm going to follow the website instructions of my source and replace the plastics and glue them back in there with 77 3M adhesive, just to make sure, because they're in pretty good shape. You know, very little wrinkling. Still some wrinkling, but again, we're in Virginia, so you know how that is. Gauge wise, cooling works, oil pressure works, speedometer, odometer work, clock doesn't work. Tachometer, intermittent works. Glow plug light works. All the idiot lights work. Car has the block heater installed, and it does work as well. Back when I purchased the car, it was still cool outside, so I plugged it in just to let it operate a little bit and see if it functioned. But again, it's one of those things that you know, you want to make sure it works, because when it gets cold. Apologies for the garage. You know how it is. It's better than taking the tools upstairs every time. But again, trying to get this car completely roadworthy so that we're good for the summer months here in Virginia. Apologize. I'm gonna set the phone down for a second. There we go. And let me release this hood for a second so it can go all the way back. Almost. There we go. So you can get an idea there of what's going on. The engine is remarkably pretty clean. Again, I washed it by hand with cloth with grease lightning and so on, and the mileage that I put on it, not really any big deals at all. Again, fuel filter wise, I've never attempted to do that or purged it with a little hand pump thing here, so I've got some local source of knowledge that can kind of give me some information on. Belt wise, they're in pretty good shape. Cooling system seems to be fine, no leaks. The previous guy that really had it for about a month, he put a new battery in. There's some corrosion underneath the battery tray, which is rusted through the fender, which again, it's not cosmetic work. It's more just easy cut out the metal and then weld in and grind and then seam seal and all that good stuff and make sure that it looks good. But enough as far as the motor goes.